my beautiful buds. Welcome back to my channel, Sprouts with Joy. My name is Joy, and if you like to talk about plants, you're in the right place. And today we are going to be playing a game of Would You Rather Planty Edition. There's this YouTuber named Lainey Ozark that I follow. I love her videos. She does like fashion stuff, and she did a fashion version of Would You Rather, so I thought it would be kind of fun to make a planty Would You Rather video. So actually a couple weeks back on my Instagram stories, I set up a series of poll question things for you guys to answer. I'm going to be talking about these same questions, and I will be sharing the poll results up here somewhere. Yeah, I want to share my own opinions now because I did not really share them on my Instagram stories. And also I think in the description box below I'm gonna put the questions so that you can copy and paste them in the comments and answer them and follow along if you want to. So yeah, super carefree video today, and I think this will be fun. I think I've said that like 10,000 times. The first Would You Rather Houseplant Edition was, would you rather own only Philodendron or only Hoya? And these were the results. 59% of you were Team Philodendron and 41% of you were Team Hoya. And obviously this is a relatively small sample size, so take that with a grain of salt. But this is really hard for me because I have been really loving Hoya a lot lately, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Team Philodendron. I just feel like, I don't know, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of variety within the Hoya species, but I feel like Philodendron has just a little bit more variety, and I really like the way my home looks and like the jungle vibes that Philodendron offer, because you know, you have your trailing heartleaf Philodendron and that sort of thing, but you also have like upright Philodendron and crawling Philodendron. So I just feel like there's more variety in like the form and in the size. Like you can get much bigger plants, whereas with Hoya, you do have some Hoya, like Hoya Serac, that have the potential to get really big leaves, but they just don't quite compare to the size that some Philodendron leaves can get to. I don't know, if I had to pick one, I'm leaning towards Philodendron. They're also kind of my first love anyways, so I still feel kind of loyal to them. But that is really tough because I've really been enjoying growing my Hoya. Let me know, are you Team Philodendron or Team Hoya? If you had to pick one. Kind of a bummer too is that like under this Would You Rather, like you would only be owning only Hoya or only Philodendron. Like no monsteras, no cacti, no prayer plants, like none of that. Which is kind of sad. I wouldn't want to live in that world anyways. Next one. Would you rather keep plants 100% in closed growing situations? So that would include stuff like terrariums and greenhouse cabinets and grow tents. I would say all of those sort of count in that. Or would you want 100% of your plants to be out and about in your home? So like that means you don't have a grow tent, you don't have terrariums, you don't have a greenhouse cabinet where you keep, you know, your prized anthurium and that sort of thing. So I would say for me, because I don't already have a closed growing situation yet, I would just go with having them all out and about in my home, although in the future my opinion may change. But for now, that's my personal preference. I already have like 3 humidifiers and some grow lights, and if anything I could get a better shelf setup with grow lights on each individual shelf and like get like a really big shelf and have a humidifier next to it. Obviously it's not as controlled, and there are certainly incredible benefits to closed growing. But I do, even though it kind of limits some of the plants that you can have in your collection, I really like living with my plants and having them right up in my space, you know what I mean? So yeah, and it seems like most of the people that follow me tend to agree. 14% of you far prefer closed growing and rather have only plants in closed growing, but 86% of you like your plants to tickle your toes. Honestly, closed growing, as an aside, closed growing can really give you the opportunity to be a bit more hands-free and enjoy them, but like your plants are more likely to survive if you get sick or if you like have to go on vacation or something, I feel like. Again, I completely understand that. Okay, would you rather grow all your plants in soil or have them all in semi-hydroponics, so like lechuza pond or leca or something like that? And 91% of you prefer soil, or you know, you'd rather have only soil, and 9% of you would like to have all of your plants in semi-hydro, or do already have all of your plants in semi-hydro. And for me, I would pick soil because that's within my comfort zone. I actually have not, I've done hydroponics, like just having plants in water, but I have not had a semi-hydro setup. I don't own any leca or lechuza pond and that sort of thing. I know it's sort of an upfront investment. I think someday I might try lechuza pond. Leca doesn't really appeal to me. Pond sort of appeals to me. I think I could jive with that for certain plants, but I would have to like get special pots for it and stuff like that, and I don't know, there's a lot that goes into it, and I think I definitely want to try it and experiment with it someday, but today is not that day. Ooh, this one is interesting. Would you rather never buy a plant again or never do a plant trade again? This one is really, really hard. So, okay, first of all, 37% of you said never buy a plant again, and 63% of you said never trade again. I think the healthier thing to pick would probably be never buying a plant again. Then there's a bit more effort and a bit more of a journey involved when it comes to like acquiring my wish list plants. And obviously there's the benefit of like not really spending money except for paying shipping if you're shipping something, but then you're getting something in return. So I think my gut was to never trade again, because I actually haven't done a whole lot of plant trades. But if I were to commit to never buying a plant ever again, obviously it would be maybe more challenging to get my hands on certain things, because, you know, I have a pretty robust collection, but like I feel like if someone were to own some of the plants that I want, they might already own or like not want my plants that I already have, which I don't know, maybe that's just all in my head, but that's just how I feel about some things. Anyway, I'm kind of going off on a weird tangent there. I think in reality, I ought to pick, and I probably would pick never buy again. Would you rather get all of your plants online or purchase them all locally? 46% of you said the internet is full of cool plants and I want to buy all of my plants off the internet. 54% of you said you would rather buy everything from your local nurseries. This one's really tough for me because I really like supporting like local businesses and small businesses and stuff like that. I think that's really important for the economy. It's more likely that you can just get any plant that you want if you were to pick the internet, because obviously like you can pretty much access most plants that way, but you're also not guaranteed their condition. You're also a little bit limited during the winter if it's outside of your comfort zone to be shipping in the winter, and then you're also on top of that paying for shipping and for heat packs and so on and so forth, and you're taking the risk of your plants not doing well because shipping can be hard on them. So there are those cons on the internet with local nurseries, like your selection might not be as good or as varied, at least. I feel like picking the internet would be enabling me a bit too much. So I think I would pick local nurseries and then rely a lot more on trades to get some plants that are not as accessible to me in my own region. So I feel like I rambled a lot with that question, but maybe I'll just cut some things out. I don't know. I had to do a lot of verbal processing, okay? Okay. The next one. Oh, would you rather own a calathea or own a fern? I think for a lot of people, both calatheas and ferns are sort of notorious for being a bit more challenging or a bit more needy, hence the question. So 52% of you said you'd prefer to have a calathea, and 48% of you said you'd prefer to have a fern. So that was actually really close, like surprisingly close. For me, I don't know, I like some ferns, but I think that I like more calathea and Gapurtia in that family. I think I like more of those than I do ferns. Like there's like a select few ferns that I think are adorable, like the maidenhair fern and a staghorn fern, and I guess Boston ferns are alright. But when it comes to like calathea and Gapurtia, most of the ones I see I really, really like. I also already have quite a few of them in my collection, and I feel like I've gotten a pretty good handle on them, whereas I only have my staghorn fern, and I feel like that's very different from a lot of the other ferns out there. So in terms of comfort zone, I would definitely pick calathea. Would you rather have fast growth and tons of fungus gnats or slow growth and zero gnats? This one is a really, really, really tough one. I guess my question is, even if you have a ton of them, are they controlled? Like, are you able to control the situation at all? Or is it just endless gnats all the time. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. I'm gonna assume it's probably endless gnats all the time. There's nothing you can do about it. 39% of you said, bring on the gnats, I want growth. And 61% of you said, I loathe gnats, slow is fine. And I would say, I probably am agreeing with the majority here. I think if I lived by myself and I never had any visitors, I would just be like, oh, let them grow. They're fine. I don't care about the gnats. But having a family, a husband in particular that is not fond of the fungus gnats, we also tend to have quite a few visitors in our home. So I feel like it would be kind of embarrassing to just have gnats everywhere all the time. I definitely have some fungus gnats, but my situation is relatively controlled. But if I were to have tons and there's nothing I could do about it, I think that would be a bit out of hand and probably inconsiderate to those that I live with and to those that enter my home. So for that reason, I would pick that. And also, I mean, I love it when my plants grow really fast. I think it's exciting, but the more plants that I have in my collection and like the less space that I have, the more I'm kind of okay for them to just exist. I feel like when I had fewer plants in my collection, I was more eager for them to go wild and grow like crazy. I like having the different kinds of plants and I like watching them grow, but I have more plants to keep track of and kind of more to keep me occupied, so I think that helps as well. This next question is, would you rather have only common plants that are really easy or only rare plants that are really hard? So 77% of you said, give me the easy common plants, like that's what I want. 23% of you said that you like a challenge and you would want hard, rare plants. This question is interesting. I think that I do like a challenge, and so part of me is kind of leaning that direction, but at the same time, I think if I had to pick one, if I were to have only rare plants that are really challenging to take care of, I would probably only want a few of them, but that wouldn't really satisfy my desire to have my house feel like a jungle, you know? And since I don't have a greenhouse cabinet or grow tent or a setting like that, it would probably be wiser for me to pick common plants that are really easy to take care of. And that way too, I mean, there are seasons in my life where I just can't give as much to my plants as I would like to because I have 2 kids and I have a husband and I have a job, among a lot of other things going on in life. So sometimes my plants can't be the #1 priority, but I still love them and I still want them to be a part of my home. I think I would go with the common plants just because that way, you know, I can have a really long and lush pothos or heartleaf philodendron, and I can have a big Monstera deliciosa and make my home feel really full and lively without too much effort. I would definitely miss my like rarer, more challenging plants in that circumstance, but I would rather my house feel like a jungle than not. Would you rather get 75% off all the plants you ever buy, but they all come with mealybugs, or pay double for all the plants that you buy, but they're guaranteed to be pest-free? Woof. This one's tough. And actually this question was courtesy of my husband. He came up with it, so well done, Clay. But 39% of you said you can deal with mealybugs. It would be great if you could get 75% off all your plants, and 61% of you are on the other side where you're like, no thank you, I don't want any pests, I will pay double to get no pests. I don't know, I think that my gut reaction was, oh yeah, I want 75% off my plants, like come on, I can deal with mealybugs. And I think generally mealybugs aren't that bad of a pest. Sometimes they can wreak havoc if it's out of hand. But I mean, if I knew that every single plant that came into my possession had mealybugs, I would just douse it with Captain Jack's, douse it with dish soap and rubbing alcohol, douse it with systemic, like go ham. But then again, see, it would be a little bit scary to like risk your plant collection every single time you brought in a new plant. So if you could guarantee that there's literally no pests at all if you pay double, that might be worth it, because then you're guaranteed to not only not have like mealybugs, but also not have any spider mites, not have flat mites. Oh my goodness, that would be lovely. So I think even though my initial gut reaction was 75% off with mealybugs, I think after actually thinking about it, I would pay double but get completely pest-free plants. Well, I think that actually was it. Yeah, that was a fun little video. Wow! This is like a peppermint mocha that I made. and I put a little bit too much peppermint syrup in there. But I mean, it tastes good. It's just, that's a lot of sugar. I would love to hear about your preferences, so if you haven't already, please do play along in the comments. I mean, you don't have to answer all of them, but if you had preferences for a few of them, or if you had any thoughts, I would love to read about them. With that, please feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want to, if you liked this. That would mean a lot for me. And yeah, I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye-bye!